One of the questions I'm often asked is how to cover a cake to get that perfect, flawless finish. It is quite tricky, it does take practice, but if you follow these techniques, these tips, these hints, I am sure you will get a perfect result. We always tend to cover our cakes with marzipan and then sugar paste. The reason we use marzipan is it's oil-based using the almonds, so it really helps to lock the moisture into the cake and have a lovely firm finish to the cake, so that when we then brush it with the brandy or the rum and cover with a top coat of sugar paste, it creates a lovely flawless finish. It's really important to use a good quality marzipan, one that has really high almond content. Mine has a 36% ground almonds. And the nice thing about that is it's really soft and oily to work with, so it really helps to cover the cake nicely. The first thing you'll notice when I take the marzipan out of the box is I'm going to knead it on the work surface without the use of any extra icing sugar. This way I'm not affecting the quality or the consistency of the marzipan itself. It's helping to keep it nice and pliable and malleable, but doesn't dry it out. When you're ready to roll out the marzipan, now you want to liberally dust the work surface with icing sugar, because we definitely don't want it to stick as we start rolling it out. The really key tools you need to ensure that you have at this stage are a siliconized rolling pin, and I've brought out 3 in the collection. The super length one, which is perfect for rolling out marzipan and sugar paste of extraordinary sizes to cover even the largest of tiers. And these are made from silica, nice and even with no grooves in them, which means that they retain their heat. They don't impart any extra coolness like marble would on the sugar paste or marzipan, and they don't impart a wood grain, if it was wooden, onto the marzipan and sugar paste. So you end up with a very smooth, even finish. Short, sharp strokes over the surface of the marzipan in one direction, and then turn it, and then roll in the same direction with the marzipan turned a quarter. One of the really cool things that I brought out to help you to ensure that you have a nice even thickness are our thickness gauges, which you can lie either side of the marzipan and the sugar paste when you're rolling them out, guaranteed to ensure that you roll the marzipan to a thickness of 4 millimeters, which is the optimum for covering large cakes. You can have these positioned either side of the marzipan so that as you roll with your rolling pin and the marzipan becomes thinner, the rolling pin will rest then on the gauges here, which can be brought out or drawn in as necessary to ensure that you've got the even thickness right the way across the piece of paste that you're rolling out. And you'll see once you reach the surface of the thickness gauges, where the rolling pin is rolling along the gauges, you know you've got the right size and right thickness. Now, just prior to fixing this marzipan over the cake, we're going to use one of 2 smoothers. This is the completely oval shaped, or my running track smoother, with a lovely ergonomic handle, so it's really lovely to grip and to hold. And the idea is that at this stage you apply a good amount of pressure on the smoother as you smooth out the ice, the marzipan, and the same would apply with sugar paste prior to applying it onto the cake. What this will do, because you're using a nice firm surface here on the work surface, and this is a nice firm flat surface, you're effectively squeezing the 2 together with the marzipan between. So it's just doubly making sure that the marzipan piece that you've rolled out is absolutely even across the whole sheet prior to it going onto the cake. I've brushed the cake with the boiled apricot jam, and now I can lift this marzipan up over the cake. The easiest way to do this is to take one hand underneath the back of the surface of the marzipan, and with your other arm, very much like a fish slice, you're going to shoot that down the marzipan, so it's still in contact very much with the table. My other hand goes underneath it and then separates to the side. So I now have all of this marzipan carefully protected over both hands, but it's still in contact with the table. So it's not tearing it or pulling it or stretching it. And then carefully I lift that up, just skim the surface of the cake, and let go with my hands coming outwards, and as I do that my palms turn downwards, and what that's doing is expelling any air and ensuring I have an even amount of marzipan all the way around. I'm very quickly going to press the top surface, the top 1-inch edge down the sides of the cake, so that that marzipan is now stuck to the cake and there's no chance of getting any cracks on the surface. Now I can move this into position, and as I skirt the marzipan out as it comes down, I can brush it up against the cake as it comes down, and what this is allowing to do is to stick the marzipan carefully to the cake. I'm using the base of the flat of my hands as I'm cupping the cake and bringing the icing down until I can feel I've made contact with the table underneath. So once you've gone all the way around and you can feel that you've made contact like that, take a sharp knife and trim the marzipan so that you leave a 1-inch excess all the way around. And you'll see that I've got this cake, or you will have noticed I have this cake on a cake board that's exactly the same size as the cake, so that it will allow me to lift this cake up and hold it while I come up to use my smoother to smooth the sides of the cake. And using a combination of patting and smoothing with my very tall smoother held vertically, I can bring that right the way around the sides of the cake to ensure very perpendicular edges on the cake, nice straight edges around the cake all the way around. Once you've smoothed all the way around, take a sharp knife and holding the cake at eye level, take the blade in at right angles to the baseboard and carefully slice away the marzipan excess that's dropped beneath the level of the cake. What you're now left with is a perfectly covered marzipan cake. And I've got my acrylic workboard here, and I'm going to take now my right angle edged smoother and just rock it around that base edge of the marzipan to trim any of the crumbs away before positioning it on my workboard. And now with my 2 smoothers, I can carefully finish smoothing this cake. The right angled edge is perfect for ensuring that from the base of the cake to where it joins the workboard, you get a lovely, smooth, very round finish on the cake. So it gives it a lovely straight edge. And then the top one will have a nice flat surface on the top of the cake. And then together you can ensure that you've got a straight edge all the way around. And that's how you cover a cake with marzipan.